here is the remind slide for, this is the code for your graduating class. Okay, so if you're on remind for something else, like a club or a sport or your class, like biology class or something like that, then you just need to put in the @PCHS25 alphabet code. That way you're in the loop on all the things that are coming out of the counseling office. As juniors, you probably have gotten some stuff, but not nearly as much as you will get next year as seniors. Okay? So seniors can be on it, parents can be on it, guardians can be on it. So it is important to be on it. It is important to check it. Like some students, I don't know if you don't download the app Remind, if you don't set the notifications, whatever you need to do to make sure you're getting these messages. Like we'll have people come in the office toward the middle of senior year, and they get on Remind and they're like, oh my gosh, there's like 170 messages. I'm like, well, yeah, that's all the stuff you missed by not being on Remind. So, maybe not all of it's going to pertain to you, but some of it is. So just ignore it if it doesn't pertain to you, but if it does pertain to you, you need to pay attention to it. So this is going to be one of your greatest resources, is the Remind system. And that's it. For those of you that don't know what it is, it's a text messaging system, but your phone number is protected. Nobody sees it. When we send something out from the counseling office, it goes to the whole group or whoever we send it to. But if you reply to it, it just comes back to one person. You're not replying to the entire group. Okay, so really it's kind of it's a two-way communication, but when you return the communication, it's not like you're sending it to a reply all. Okay? So it has been a great way of communicating with our seniors. If you are dual enrolled, then meaning you're taking a college class while you're taking a high school class, you probably got on this then, and you need to be on it as well. Because there's a lot of communication that goes out that way. I didn't do any corrections.
Welcome. That was our pre-welcome to our meeting tonight. We appreciate you guys coming out. We are recording. Thank you, Mr. Gravely, for getting that set up. For anybody that wasn't able to make it tonight, we'll get that posted on our YouTube channel so that people can review that, probably on the school counseling website too as well, I guess. So I'm Chrissy Vest, and I'm one of the junior senior counselors, and I work with alphabet L through Z. Megan Pratt is my counterpart, and she works with alphabet A through K. Kathy Kleppen is one of our career coaches from New York Community College. And then Elena Waitman is our other career coach, and we all work very hand in hand. Elena couldn't be with us tonight, but we'll take over and cover her parts. We're going to throw a lot of information at you. You have this handout. We gave you a couple of other handouts to go along with it, but we're going to throw a lot of information at you. You won't probably remember it all, but that's why you have resources and you have us. So if you need anything along the way, we're happy to help. And we also have an expert in the house from admissions, so we may refer to her as well. So if you have any questions, we will try to answer those throughout the presentation. At the end, we can have some time for you guys to ask questions at that point. So and we go in a round robin sort of fashion, so just it's pretty casual.
All right, well, thank you guys for coming. This time next year, you guys will be preparing for graduation in a very short amount of time, and it will come very quickly. So at this point, in your students' high school career, we just want to talk about what's coming up next. Looking ahead to life after high school, we are going to throw a whole bunch of information at you, and you're not going to remember probably much of any of it. And that's okay, but most of what tonight is about is giving you kind of an overview and then putting the resources into your hands to know where do I go when I need this information, and who can I ask, and all of those things, and just give you a roadmap for the year to come. Your greatest resources, well, probably the greatest resource besides the people here at the high school, is our school counseling website. We direct students and their families to the website all of the time. We are constantly updating, putting information there. You'll see a calendar that we try to keep up to date and current with pertinent information. We have announcements, things things that are coming up, and then on the left-hand side, you'll see a bunch of tabs with a lot of different information. And as you guys are heading into your senior year, you'll find that senior tab with the sub-tabs. Probably the most important and helpful. So college information, financial aid, and scholarships. And we'll talk more about that. But when in doubt, go to the school counseling website. Staying in the loop by being on Remind, that's one of the easiest, fastest, most efficient ways for us to get information to you guys quickly. Checking your email will probably save us multiple times in the presentation today, and then your students already probably hear it every time we have a class meeting, and they'll hear it, every time we get together. But check your email. A lot of information comes through there, including our daily announcements. So we have the daily announcement email from Ms. Alger where she sends it to the email, you check that out, and then of course, we now also have Mr. Gravely and his crew videoing a daily announcement segment, but that will certainly be your avenue for the important information as it's happening, as it's scheduled. We also post information in your students' Canvas Cougar Commons. It's just kind of like an announcement portal almost, so that information is listed there. And then each family should have received an opportunities workbook, and that has a lot of good information as you're going into your senior year and preparing for college.
Okay, paths to higher education. So there are a lot of different paths, and we will help the students with any of them. Whether they want to go directly to a four-year school, whether they want to go first to a community college, whether it's New River, Whitfield, Virginia Western, or wherever, and then on to a four-year school, or 2 years or less at the community college to the workforce. Okay? There are two paths from the community college. One is the transfer path and one is the workforce path. And there are 10 different transfer degrees at New River Community College. So it's not just one, general studies. There are several different ones, and we will work with seniors, helping them identify what's the right path for them. But just know that no matter which path they want to take, even if they want to do a trade school, that we will help them with that as well. So there are a lot of different places to end, and we will help with the journey of any of the three. So, located on the counseling website, under college, there is the college timelines. So it's also in the back of your handout here. It's the second to the last page, and it's a whole list of, if I'm headed to New River or a community college route, what are the things I need to do and in what order? Or if I'm headed to a four-year school, what are the things I need to do and in what order? So that is on the very back. We just put a hard copy in here. We update those dates as we get them, but we have tentative dates in there right now. And you can also find both of these college timelines on the counseling website. So if you lose your handout, then just go to the counseling website and you can get access to those as well.
So just a brief word about Major Clarity. That is the platform that we use for career exploration and academic planning. Your students should be familiar with it. We visit it at least once a semester. It gives them the opportunity to take interest surveys and then do a lot of exploration in a lot of different careers and kind of look and see what's out there and what each career entails. So we're getting ready to do that again with students right before spring break. And so at this point, your students will probably just be going in, updating, maybe taking an interest survey again because they're 11th graders now, they're different in some ways than they were last year or as 9th graders, but it's a great tool as you're looking ahead and planning for the future.
Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about this book. This, the book that you have is the 23-24 workbook. It's not much different for 24-25, but we have ordered new books. So when those come in, we will send a reminder out to the junior class and let them know they're in the counseling office, they can pick them up. But this is a great resource for college in general, and then college about Virginia specifically. So in the front, you can kind of see on the side, there's like orange tabs or orange pages, and then there's green pages. So the orange pages are all the things that are specific to Virginia, and the green pages are just college in general, like financial aid. Because financial aid is going to happen no matter where you go to school. But there are some great worksheets in here, like if you're looking at 3 or 4 different colleges, there's a worksheet in here that you can list all the colleges and the pros and the cons and what's important to you. You know, whether you go to college in a big city, or whether you want a big college, or all of the things that you should consider. It's going to give you information about that. There's also a table in here that will help you identify if the school that you're thinking of is a reach school, or if it's like within your aptitude. So it'll list in there what the GPA is that they're looking for to get into the school. And you can just kind of look and say, all right, well, I know where my GPA is. Is this a school that I would be able to go to? Okay, it also has in here the cost of the schools. So this book is pretty invaluable. When we get the new one, we'll just send a reminder out and let you know to come pick them up.
All right, so now we're gonna play a game, and we need 8 student volunteers. So I need 8 students. So if you don't start coming on up, guys, I'm gonna start pointing at you. Yeah, come on, guys. I see you too, and I see Addison and Dick right behind you, and I see Miss Golden right behind that. Y'all come on up. I need 5 tonight. Braxton, come on.
Come on, it's fun.
Come on, guys. I need. It is fun. If you've had an older.
This is what college is like.
Come on.
College is like
I have,
putting yourself into a situation where you're maybe not all that comfortable.
Come on over. All right, you guys are responsible for getting up on stage and putting yourself in order of your GPAs. I need 2 more. Miss Price. 2 more students, please. Thank you. If you've had an older child graduate and come to this meeting before, yes, it is the same game, but we find that it's pretty engaging, and the students like it. We can provide a lot of information. It's a lot better than just listening to us. So, are you guys able to put yourselves in order?
And I just unplug this and it'll take the knob.
Oh, I guess. All right, so you guys hold up. Wait, 3.0 needs to come down here a little bit. Come over here. Oh, sorry, 3.1 in between. Yes. All right, so hold those up. This is grade point average. So students, as they start building their academic records, their grade point average starts calculating as soon as they start taking high school classes. The perfect grade point average is a 4.0. That means all A's. You see we have one student that has a 4.1. That student has taken dual enrollment or AP classes, and their grade point average is above a perfect 4.0 because their classes are weighted on a 5-point scale. So you will see some of our students graduate with over 4.0s. I think this year we actually have about 60-some students who are graduating with over a 4.0 in our senior class. So a lot of students take dual, and we do have a couple of AP classes, but we have a lot of students that take dual enrollment credits, which are college credits, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. So, but we're gonna play this game. You guys hold your GPAs up. On the back of your cards, there are lines. When I read out the line, then you will move according to whatever I tell you to do, okay? The highest GPA 4.1 down to a 2.8, okay? So the first one, if your intended major in college is psychology or pre-med, move down 1 space, which means you go this direction. So if you're, 3.3 moves down and 3.1.
All right, so 2.9 in both. Yeah, because you both have that?
Yes.
So you both go, there you go. Make sure they can see your GPA.
So what we're doing is we are a college admissions office, and we are looking at this application, and these are the GPAs, because it's not just about the GPAs, what we're trying to show you. If you applied early decision, to your first choice school, move up one space. Early decision is a binding decision. You applied at an earlier time than the regular application pool, and those are students who know that their first choice school is the one that they're applying to, early decision. If you are accepted when you find out that earlier through this early decision route, then you are required to attend that school. You must withdraw your other applications at other schools and attend. So if they know that you're applying early decision, then you are saying to them, I am coming to your school if I get in. We wouldn't recommend doing that unless you have one be-all, end-all school, and that is exactly where you want to go. Otherwise, there is early action available, which lets you know ahead of time, in an earlier time frame, that is not a binding decision. But early decision is in fact binding, and so therefore the colleges like that. If your intended major is Greek, move up one space. So just as we said a few minutes ago, psychology and pre-med, a lot of students will put that on their applications, that is what their intended major is. Maybe it will be that, maybe not. That's probably one of those very popular majors for students, so they're not looked at it the same way. But if there's a college you're applying to that has, in fact, a Greek program, they are trying to fill those spots to keep that program in their school, and therefore you're going to move ahead of other students who are applying for other majors. Not all colleges accept by majors. Virginia Tech is one that does, in fact, you must apply by major. They make their decisions, they fill that college, and that's how they decide if you're getting into Virginia Tech. Now, a lot of schools don't do that, but Virginia Tech is one of the local schools that in fact does. So major does matter. If you do not know any of your teachers well enough to feel comfortable asking for a recommendation, move down 2 spaces. College applications, you're going to ask for college recommendations. You're going to ask your teachers or other people to write recommendations for you. And you need to have teachers that you feel comfortable that you can go to. Ask ahead of time, ask early. Don't wait to the last minute to ask for those recommendations, because it's in all likelihood they're either not going to have time to do it, or they're not going to write you what they might have done if you asked them and gave them enough time to do it in the first place. All right. If you word processed your college essay, you forgot to change the name of the college you were applying to, move down 3 spaces. So he has a 4.1 grade point average in his college. He's writing essays for his college admissions, and he left the previous name of the college he wrote to in there and sent it to a different college. That doesn't look good. So he just moved down because of that. They know you're applying to other colleges. I mean, of course, they know that you're applying to multiple colleges, but you want them to think that you're their number one, or they're your number one, and so therefore make sure you're paying very close attention to the fine details of this. If you did not write the optional college essay, move down 1 space. It does say optional, but guess what? If you don't take the time to write that optional college essay, then maybe you're not really that concerned about getting into their college. It may say optional, but I would always go ahead and write that essay. Take the time, show them that it matters, that you want to get into their school, and do that optional essay. If you wrote the essay of the year, the one everyone's passing around the office, move up 2 spaces. So he wrote an essay that was so impressive that the admissions counselors or the people that are reading that essay take it and show somebody else. If you're going to have an essay that's written like that, that's a standout. They're going to pay attention, and that's going to be pretty important. So take time, give yourself time to write the essay, proof it, have somebody else read it. It needs to be your original work, but have somebody else proof it. Make sure that it's grammatically correct. Make sure that somebody else can read it and understand it. But that's really important when you're applying to colleges. If you have taken an exceptionally strong academic program, move forward 2 spaces. There's several of you guys that are gonna move. Takes a minute to figure it all out. So these students took the dual enrollment classes, and that's what they look at. It's called strength of schedule. If you, when you're taking your classes, if you just take the easy classes all the way through, then your strength of schedule is not there. You want to make sure that you're taking the classes that are going to show that you're willing to challenge yourself. You know, we have students that finish their math and science in their junior year, and then they're like, I'm not going to take a math or science next year. Ms. Pratt and I look at them, what are your plans after high school? I'm going to college. I'm going to go to college. Well, then you need to continue to take classes that are going to impress a college when you're applying. So if you continue to challenge yourself, then that's going to help you look better when you're applying to a college. Take those dual classes, take those AP. Do not put yourself in a position though that you won't be successful though. I mean, if you want to take an AP, or excuse me, a dual enrollment class or two, and you're trying to balance a lot of other things and you know that's going to be challenging for you, then stop at 2. Don't try to take 4 or 5 because you think that's what's going to get you in college and then come out with D's or C's. You want to do as much as you can do and show them that you're able to take care of it and be successful. If you plagiarized an American history paper and got caught, sit down, you're out of the competition entirely. And remember, AI is not your friend when you're writing college admissions stuff. You know, just like your English teachers can check to see if you're using the AI, I don't know how to do that, AI, then they can do that with college too, and they can tell. You know, they can tell they're very educated at that. If you will be the first in your family to attend college, move up 2 spaces. You're gonna go all the way fast, aren't you? So if first generation students are definitely a population that is targeted among colleges, so they are going to take precedence maybe over others. So they do look at, you know, have your family, do you have family that have been college graduates or not? If you attended an enriching summer program between your junior and senior years, move up 2 spaces. We offer a couple of things in the summer that are free to students. We have Boys State, Girls State, Summer Residential Governor School, and some other programs. We have a really hard time finding students to fill those programs. They don't apply, they don't want to go stay away from home or be tied up doing academic things in the summer. But those sort of things, and it doesn't just have to be those programs, but those sort of things look very impressive on a college application. You know, that you're going above and beyond and you're putting in the extra effort. So anything that you can do to stand out among the college application pool, then that's what you want to do. If you have participated in no extracurricular activities, move down 3 spaces. You did a lot of walking in, don't you? Colleges want to bring students on their campus who are going to be a part of that culture. They're going to be a part of growing the next generation and the next. So they don't want strictly bookworms and kids who are going to do nothing but sit in their rooms and do studying all the time. They want people who are going to come and write the student newspaper, part of the TV productions programs, the yearbook, the SBA, all of the different things that they have on campus, and that's what they want students to come be a part of. So they're going to look to see, what did you do in high school? And what are you going to bring to our campus? So all of those extracurricular things, sports, clubs, theater, band, choir, all of those things are things that look really good on your college application. So make sure that you're doing other things, forensics, MAC, everything. We have a lot of things to choose from. So make yourself stand out by being a part of those. If you have participated in a significant community service project, move up 1 space. So these are students who have taken the time to do things for the community. Again, another thing that really looks good on a college application because you're giving back and you're doing things to stand out. If you're from a single parent household and you must work to help with expenses, move up 2 spaces. There are students who they're trying to balance both the academics and they're balancing the fact that they are having to be employed and they're doing things to support their family, and they've spoken about that in their application, then that is gonna stand out again. Now, not everybody has to come from those circumstances, and they know that, but they do take those things into consideration. If you are a varsity athlete, you direct the gospel choir at your church, you're an Eagle Scout, or you work, move up one space. Again, these are just other examples of things that they look at and they consider to be, you know, it doesn't have to be a varsity athlete, but any of these things are things that they're looking at to say, you're a well-rounded student, we want you on our campus. If you had mono and were out of school for 5 weeks during your freshman year, and you spoke with your counselor about the possibility of including this in the counselor recommendation, move up one space. 2.9? Oh, you're in. So, in all likelihood, she probably had some lower grades in the 9th grade. And if you take the time to have the counselor speak about it in their recommendation to kind of explain why my freshman year, my grades weren't as strong, or, you know, they were a little lacking in luster, then that is something that the admissions department will look at and be like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. You know, and then what you need to do is absolutely show that sophomore, junior, senior years, you really did get back in there and you really made the best effort. So make sure that you are communicating with us and letting us know what we can do to help your application be stronger. If you got a D in an academic class at the end of your junior year, move down 3 spaces. Most of the time, students who are applying to college, their junior year grades are what the colleges are looking at, because that's your most recent grades, that's your transcript that's going to be sent. So the junior year, the grades and the classes that you're in right now are probably the most important that you're having, because they look at that. That's the most recent for them. Now, they do get a final transcript, and they're going to look at that, and they're going to reconsider, but your junior year grades are very important, so make sure that you're staying on top of those. Reach out for help if you need it. If you wrote a letter to the college admissions officer and explained the extenuating circumstances surrounding that grade of D, move up 1 space. So he got a D, but he told the admissions counselor why. There were something has happened, and he explained that. So it's always important to put everything in that college application that you can that tells them about who you are. If you decided to protect your grade point average by not taking AP or dual enrollment classes offered at your school, move down 2 spaces. So she has a 4.0 grade point average, and what I told you, that's a perfect grade point average, all A's. But she didn't challenge herself at all. She didn't take the classes that we offered, and she's a 4.0 student. She probably should have taken some. So they do look at that, and they're going to take that into consideration because they know what college class or what classes we offer at a school. We send in a profile that talks about the dual classes, the AP, all the honors, all those things. So they know what we offer. They also know us as a school because probably the people in admissions have been working with our students and working with us for a long time. There's a lot of familiarity there. They know how high math can go or how high the science goes. So make sure that you're showing what you can do. All right, and then finally, if your last name is Kennedy and the name on the college library is Kennedy, and it's not a coincidence, move all the way to the front of the line and stay there. So you can see that your GPAs, it really does matter, but there's not just the GPA that's going to get your child into college. There's so many other things you need to consider. So, all right, let's give them a round of applause. So just like we talked about, rigor of schedule is important, your AP, dual enrollment classes, but make sure you're able to handle those classes. Don't overextend yourself. Create an email account for college. You're gonna get so many emails from schools, you're gonna need a separate email account. Do not send out teddy bear pookie 12, and you don't want that to be your college email, you know? So make sure that you're sending out something that is a professional type email. Do not use the high school's email because unfortunately in July, after you graduate, that email will no longer be accessible to you. So we recommend you make sure that you have an email that you're going to check and that is a professional sounding email. Check your email daily, check spam and junk because sometimes they'll go there. And make sure you read those emails. That's very important too. Don't just look at it and keep on going. Keep up with your logins, usernames, and passwords. That's one of my biggest things. Write them down. You guys save them in your phone or whatever, but you're going to need them for all the college applications and all the different things. So make sure that you're keeping a log of all of those things. Know the deadlines. The college websites are your friend. Go to the college websites now of the schools that you think you want to apply to, become familiar with them. Know what deadlines they posted for this year, just like we've already given you that list of deadlines and things that we expect to be the case for next year's senior class. Colleges are going to follow about in the same order, so I would definitely go ahead and be at that place and know what's going on this year so that you can plan for next year. Visit the colleges because every college campus has a different feel. They all have their own personality, and you need to figure out which one fits for you. A couple of years ago, I was on 5 different campuses in about a 2-week span, and I don't think I ever realized how different each campus felt until I was on their campus. You know, because I may not be the sporty type. I may not want that college atmosphere, you know, rah-rah, but I'm a quiet, over in the corner, I'm going to be writing it for the newspaper or something. I want to be a part of, you know, making change happen. I mean, those are all different things. All colleges have that, but there's going to be a different feel, so get an idea of that by going on visits when students are there. You go during spring break, their spring break, you're not going to have the same feel for the campus as you are if their students are on campus and walking among you. So that's pretty important. Memorize your Social Security number. This is always Ms. Puppin's thing. You will use your Social Security number. You're going to need it. Memorize it. That's just kind of a life lesson, I think.
Yeah, we don't want it, but you need to know it.
Yeah. And then your senior year matters. We get a lot of students that have senioritis. It is very important that you finish strong your senior year, taking challenging classes and doing well in those classes. So stay focused and stay on track. This is me too. Y'all tired of me? College websites, I already said that. That's really important. Make sure that you're on those websites and knowing what's going on. Colleges do charge for applications. Most colleges, not all. Radford University, Bluefield University. There's a lot of colleges that do not, but there are a lot of colleges that do. So make sure that you know what those college costs are. If you think you might qualify for a fee waiver, come see Ms. Pratt or I. We're more than welcome to get you that, and we can get you a waiver so we can take care of that application fee. Know the deadlines. We talked about that, and that's true for all things, not just applications or, but you're also your scholarships, financial aid, and things. Parchment account, Ms. Pratt will actually talk about that in a few minutes. That's what we use for transcripts. Letters of recommendation, I already said that, request those early so you have teachers give enough time to know, and give them a cheat sheet. So write up like a resume, and it doesn't even have to be formal, but something that talks about what all you've done. They don't know these things. If you're asking for them to write a letter of recommendation for a scholarship, give them some information about your financial situation. You know, about, I mean, you don't have to tell them how much your parents make necessarily, but you know, talk about why this is important to you that you get this scholarship, and you know, how much of a cost you're looking at and things like that. So those things, give as much information to that person you're asking to write that letter of recommendation as you can. Common Application is a one-stop shop. The Common Application has a multitude of schools. If you go to the Common App, you can see which schools participate. You apply the one application on the Common Application You apply, you do your application, fill it out, and then each school that you decide you want to apply to, you mark, and if they have other items that you need to complete for them, then those will populate in your Common App. You fill those out, you pay your payment, and you submit. If you go back 2 weeks later and decide I'm going to apply to another school that utilizes Common App, you can go back to your Common Application, pull it up, pull that school in, and then they'll send you any other supplemental materials you need to do for them. So Common App is a pretty useful application. Some colleges use it, others do not, but some colleges will have their own applications on their websites. But look at the Common App, just see who uses it, because once you've done that application and their supplemental materials, then you're done. So that's pretty easy. You invite Ms. Pratt and I to the Common App, and then we complete our piece. When you are doing that, if you have a deadline of May or of December 1 or whatever the case may be, you submit your application even if we've not done our part, because it'll communicate with you and tell you when your counselors filled out their part. You submit your part by the deadline. Always meet deadlines, because they won't take them late. So you submit your pieces by the deadline. Don't wait on us. We'll get ours done. Just meet your deadline, and then college-specific applications are on their websites. Make those things, make sure you're familiar with them.
Okay, I'm gonna talk through some of the application deadlines. There are several different types of applications. So some schools use what's called rolling admission. And what that means is when you apply, usually within about a 2-week period, you're gonna find out whether or not you're in. So they don't have any specific deadline, it's just you apply when you're ready. A lot of the private schools are set up like that. Radford University is set up like that. So once they open up their applications, say in August, you can start applying to those schools. And then you'll find out in 2 weeks whether or not you're in. Some schools will charge you to apply for them, and some schools you can apply for free. Okay? I want to talk about the VT on-site deadline, because Virginia Tech does something different than any other school. They open up their application for students in the New River Valley before they open it up to the entire world. I mean, and that's not an exaggeration. They are an international school, but they look to you guys first. They look to the New River Valley first and make offers to you before they open it up to everybody else. I mean, that is just like a tremendous advantage for you. We tell students, if Virginia Tech is the school you want to go to, you need to make sure you apply by the on-site admission deadline. Okay? It is before the early decision deadline. It is before everything, and it is early. It's like end of October, beginning of November.
Do you guys know how many applications Virginia Tech received this year? Anybody remember? Oh, good, I was hoping you would remember, but I think it was over 50,000. Do you know how many they accept?
Well,
Something like that, maybe even less. So just being considered before all those 50-some thousand applications roll in.
and you know, you like to say, well, why do they do that? Well, because you guys know where Virginia Tech is. You know what Blacksburg is like. Chances are you've been to Blacksburg. Okay, there are a lot of students that only know Virginia Tech based on their football team or whatever they see on the website. They don't actually come here. I mean, it's a great school and it is in your backyard. So you also have your family in your backyard. So if you go to Virginia Tech, your network is very close by. So the chances of you staying at Virginia Tech and graduating from there are pretty good because you are close to your network. There are a lot of students that go too far away from their school and they miss their family. You don't think you will. As a senior, you don't think you'll miss your family, but you will miss your family. Probably 95% of you will miss your family. So Virginia Tech is kind of smart. They know that your network is close by. They know that you know what you're getting when you go to Blacksburg. I mean, it's not a big metropolitan area. There's not a lot there, like when you think about Northern Virginia or Richmond. But anyway, that's why they offer the on-site. Now, a couple of things that Virginia Tech also does is they will make you turn in what's called an SRAR, self-reported academic report. Academic record, sorry. And that's you as a senior reporting all your information. You're gonna report what grade you've gotten through high school, if you've taken any SATs or ACT, what your score is there. You're gonna report everything about yourself. That way, they're not waiting on counselors to send transcript. It's all on you as a senior. So you will self-report everything, and you will self-report accurately. Because what will happen is if you get accepted, then they're gonna ask for your final transcript, and they're gonna compare it to what you gave them. So what happens is they have everything right in front of them to make a decision on you, right from the get-go, with the self-reported academic record. And you will want to have your Pulaski transcript on hand if you do the Virginia Tech application. So you will want to create a Parchment account, which is the next slide, that gives you access to your high school transcript so that it's so easy to do your SRAR for Virginia Tech.
One more thing about the Virginia Tech, and we're not pushing Virginia Tech, we just want to make sure that if you were thinking of applying to Virginia Tech, do it through the onsite, because that is the best route to be accepted, because it is so competitive. The other thing is when we have students, as I told you earlier, you do apply by major to Virginia Tech. If you're applying to a major that is not, you're not going to be accepted to that major through Virginia Tech, then we will hear from their admissions department, and they will talk to us about an opportunity for the student to change their major or consider a different major. And if they want to do that, then we would counsel with the students and see if that is something they're interested in. They change it, and then they can get an admissions decision based on that change. So it's not an automatic, but it is a courtesy to say, you know, the student's not going to be competitive for engineering at Virginia Tech. But we have construction tech that is very similar and blah, 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 and they tell us, and we can counsel with the students, and it's a pretty big perk to be able to say, go back to the students and say, have you considered this? So if Virginia Tech is a bit of a reach school for you too, you definitely want to do onsite.
Okay, and they also have a minimum GPA. I mean, I think when they first started offering this and I was first here, it seems to me like everybody who did onsite got in. It's not like that anymore. There's a minimum GPA, so it's not like they're taking everybody who does it. You have to also be have a strong academic schedule.
I think it's a 3.5
Okay.
to even apply onsite though.
Yeah, I'd say the number one, the most students go to New River, probably because of the ACE program, we go for free. The number 2 school is probably Radford University, and the number 3 school is Virginia Tech. And then it just kind of splits out. Is that about right?
I think Virginia Tech and Radford, we kind of flip the block sometimes too.
Just because they're right here in the backyard, and you all know those. So it is so important to get out on their websites and look at their majors. They have so many majors, Radford University and Virginia Tech. So go out and look. Don't just think psychology. Go in and look at what it is you really want to do. And they've got descriptions on there and all sorts of things. There are majors out there you haven't even thought of. It might be a very good fit for you. Okay, early decision versus early action. Ms. Best already talked about this. The early decision is the binding. You can only do it to one school. Don't do it unless you can pay out of pocket for it, or you know you're going to get a bunch of financial aid, because it is a binding decision. Early action is probably the smartest decision because you get everything done early, and then you can enjoy your Christmas break. So if your grades are strong at the end of this junior year, then early action is the one that we would probably recommend you do. And you can do that to as many schools as you want, and the pool of students, again, is smaller. The smallest pool is going to be early decision, because that's binding. The next smallest is early action. And then the biggest pool, which is what most students do, is regular decision. Regular decision deadlines are between anywhere from December and February. You see how we're not putting deadlines up there because they all vary. You got to go out there and set up a calendar or whatever is going to work for you, and put all your deadlines in. But schools are getting to the point now where they're making their decisions based on the early decision, early action applications, and don't really have to go to the regular decisions that deeply.
So if you are applying to college, they're gonna want your official high school transcript. If you apply using Common App, when you add Ms. Vest or me to your Common App account, so to speak, we will upload your transcript there. You do not have to take any additional steps to send your transcript. For other colleges, not New River, that's a different scenario, but for other four-year colleges, you will use Parchment, or we use Parchment. We ask that you use Parchment to request your transcript. So, you know, in the olden days, I just recently asked Ms. Vest, tell me how it was in the olden days. I'm not sure she appreciated that, but you know, an official transcript meant you printed it off, your school counselor or registrar signed it, we have a little seal thing, and we still do this sometimes, and we seal it, and then we put it in an envelope, and we tape it up, and it official means you haven't opened it, you haven't looked at it, and you hand it off to the college. Well, Parchment allows us, you to make the request online, we go in, we see that request, we pull you up, make sure it's your transcript, we hit a button, and bam, they have your official transcript. It's much faster, much efficient, a lot less steps for you to take, and quite frankly, less steps for us to take too, but it gets to them more quickly. So Parchment is what we use, and if you go to the school counseling website, we have a tab over on the left that says transcript request, and you follow the instructions for current seniors, and it will walk you through step by step setting up that account, and then how do you request your transcript. Let's say you don't need to send an official transcript yet, but you're applying to Virginia Tech and you need to do your SRAR, the self-reported academic record. And so it'd be helpful for you to have that transcript in your hands so that you can complete that accurately. You can request that your transcript be emailed to you. That's an unofficial transcript, but it's still your transcript, gives you all that info that you need to complete that SRAR or just your college application. Always the hard part to transition back. Bear with me.
And if you're dual enrolled, if you're taking dual enrolled classes, you have to also request your transcript from New River Community College to be sent to your four-year school. You don't just send your Pulaski transcript. The four-year school wants your transcript from the awarding institution. Your dual enrolled class credits are coming from New River, not from Pulaski.
That's at the end, when you graduate. You don't have to send it for application purposes.
No.
So your college acceptance timeline, important dates are listed here. Regular decision should be notified by April 1st. Of course, if you're early decision, early action, you found out much earlier. Financial aid award letters should be sent the month of April. You know, there have been a lot of changes with FAFSA and financial aid the last couple of years, so sometimes that varies. And then by May 1st, you indicate where you intend to go by making a deposit. They want some kind of commitment from you, and commitment means money. So you submit your deposit to say, yes, this is where I plan to go. There's not a great place to insert this. We don't have a slide for this, because back in COVID times, that SAT and ACT became, most schools became test optional. We're seeing a move back to some schools requiring an SAT or an ACT score for their applications. Most of our local colleges still do not, but their scholarship applications may require that. So that's just something to keep your eye on, because every college will say right now, we're test optional for this year. We don't know what next year will be. And so it can change. So just be mindful of that and know that we offer the SAT here at the high school typically in October, November, March, and May. And your junior year, spring semester is usually a good time to take it for the first time. So you can get a feel for what it's like if you haven't taken it before. If you need to have completed Algebra 2 or to take the SAT, because it's going to cover that material through Algebra 2. But we do offer that. Our next SAT date is May 5th, I believe, and the deadline to register will be the end of April. And you do that on the College Board website. I'll send out an email to all juniors and say, hey, we're giving the SAT. Make sure if you're interested, register by this date. You pay online, all of those things. ACT, we don't offer that here, so don't have a ton of information about that, but if your student would like to take the ACT, we can certainly help guide you with how to do that, where to do that information. If you are planning to go to New River, utilize the ACE program, you do not need to take the SAT or an ACT for their admission process. ETSU doesn't require it for admission to their school, but they do require it for their scholarship. So they're just little caveats like that you want to be mindful of.
All right, now we're switching to the fun topic of college costs. We're going to explain some of the ideas or some of the topics and acronyms that you're going to see when you start looking at the cost of college. Beware, it's a lot. So, cost of college, COA, direct and indirect costs. You're going to have both of those fees that you're going to be looking at when you get your financial aid award letters from the schools. Direct costs are things that everybody pays. So your direct costs are your tuitions and fees. Everybody has to pay that. Nobody gets around tuition and fees. It's the same for people. Room, if you're living on campus, you pay for that. Board is going to be your meals. So those are considered direct costs. You can go to the college websites and they will tell you what the direct cost amount is for their school. Indirect costs are costs that you're going to have for each student individually. So things like books and supplies. So one student's books may cost $200, another student may get away with, $45. But those are indirect costs. Personal expenses, transportation. Those things are all things that the college looks at and figures in when they are sending you some of that information, so you just have a big ballpark idea. The next slide, this is what we found on Radford's website for their cost of attendance for the incoming for the next year, 2025. The indirect costs again are things like, it includes things like how much it's going to cost you to travel back and forth for holidays and things like that, your necessities of your toiletries and things that you're going to have, whether or not you're on Radford's campus or anybody else's.
But if you're really frugal, that could be less. If you're a little more high maintenance, that could be more.
Yeah.
Or you could tell your student, those are your costs, that I'm not paying for that.
I love it. Your direct costs, tuition, you see that is the largest chunk of the pie. Your direct cost of tuition, direct cost fees, those are other things that you'll be paying for. Could be like computer access, computer fees, enrollment fees, different things like
Go
that.
to the gym, work out, and paying for it.
Health fees and things. Direct cost of room, that's another substantial piece of the pie. If you go to one of the schools, we're very fortunate to have, some really great college offerings in our backyard. So those direct costs of room can actually be taken out of the equation if you go to New River, but Radford University, Virginia Tech. And then, again, meals, if you are a commuter student and you're not getting a meal plan, then that's a different cost and you wouldn't have to worry about that either. But those things are all, the direct costs are things you do have to pay, and you can find those amounts on the college websites to know how much it's going to cost for that school.
So college is expensive, and so we're always looking for ways to reduce college costs. Taking dual enrollment, AP credits here at the high school is certainly one way to do that. We offer, how many college credits do we offer?
So many, like probably they could get 50.
So there are lots of dual enrollment offerings here, and then we do have a couple of AP courses. So take advantage of those. Take those courses, work with our career coaches. If you know where you're heading, whether it's New River or a four-year school and what program you want to go to, they'll say, hey, it'd be a really good idea. You're looking at nursing, you need to go ahead and take chemistry so that you can take Bio 1 dual enrollment your senior year, because you're going to need that. You can knock that out before even going to RU. Am I right?
Yeah.
And then you're not paying for those courses. So utilize your career coaches. They can certainly help you chart that path and take care of some things now before you head off to college.
There are some programs, whether it be Radford University, Virginia Tech, or New River, where you have a prerequisite you have to meet before you can get there in the fall, that you could get dual enrolled. So you don't want to miss out on that opportunity. Otherwise, you're starting late into the college.
Apply for scholarships, we have more information on that in a later slide. Go to community college, we on New River, a wonderful resource right in our backyard. They offer the ACE program, which we are so fortunate to have, where you have the opportunity to go to New River for 2 years for free, essentially. You got some things you gotta do to get that, but, and so you do have a flyer for the class of 2025 at the back of your packet. That just gives you an idea of what's required, what the timelines are. That flyer will be updated with the class of 2026 info next year. And New River has the 2+2 guarantee admissions agreements for some 4-year schools. So you go to New River, you know you want to go to Virginia Tech, they're usually one that participates and have programs that align. As long as you meet the minimum requirements at New River for your 2 years there, you're guaranteed admission into Virginia Tech to transfer.
Okay, financial aid. So financial aid, there's many different forms of aid. Grants and scholarships are money that you get that you do not pay back. You have to qualify for it. The biggest federal grant that you can get is called the Pell Grant, and this year it's $7,395. That, if you are awarded the Pell Grant, that goes with you whatever school you go to, okay? So if you start at a community college, it's gonna be more than you need there. If you start at a 4-year school, it's not gonna be enough, but it'll put a pretty big dent in the tuition. But you just have to make up the difference. So the Pell Grant funding or any grant funding goes with you whatever school you go to. It's not school specific. Scholarships are things that you apply for and you earn. Sometimes when you apply to a school like Radford University, when you apply, you are also applying into the scholarship portal. So you could be awarded a scholarship just by doing the application there. They have additional scholarships too that you can apply for. Work study jobs is another form of financial aid. That's money you earn. Okay, if you qualify for work study, you can have a job on campus where you will get a paycheck. It's not going to go towards your tuition and fees unless you put it towards your tuition and fees. But that's money that you earn that you can use for whatever your expenses are. The nice thing about work study jobs is they have to work around your college schedule. They know you're in school. So you could be like at the library checking out library books while you're also doing your homework. Okay? So it's pretty flexible, but they need students in places doing jobs on campus. And then federal loans, money you borrow from the federal government, but you have to pay it back. And there are different types of loans. There's subsidized loans, unsubsidized loans, and parent loans. I'm not going to get into the weeds here. All of this information is in your opportunity book, but just on a kind of a high level, the subsidized loan means the federal government's going to pay for that loan while you're in school. So if you take out a $5,000 loan, it's going to be $5,000 when you graduate. Okay? Unsubsidized means that interest accrues as soon as they disperse the funds to your account. You're going to start getting interest on that loan, and it's going to snowball. Okay? Loans you have to accept. They are not given to you on your behalf like grants are. Grants are already automatically accepted for you because it's free money. Okay? But a loan that you have to pay back, you have to physically say, yes, I want that loan. You have to accept it. And they also make you do loan counseling. It's like a 1 or 2 hour module online where you're going to learn about loans. Because they don't really want you taking out loans, building up debt. Okay? And the parent loans, obviously, as the parent is taking out the money to help pay for the education. But none of these are an option if you don't fill out the FAFSA. Okay? The FAFSA is a free application for federal student aid. In some cases, people will come and say, we're not going to get any money, our family makes too much. Then chances are there's some scholarships that are still going to require that FAFSA for you to apply for it. So our advice is just go ahead and do the FAFSA. We will help you get it done. Okay? We do lots of workshops here. We help students and families with it. It is free. That's what the first F stands for. So do not pay to get your FAFSA done. It's set up now where there's 2 portals. The student goes into one portal, the parent goes into the other portal, but they're both going into the same FAFSA. And that's protecting information between the two. Okay? As a student, you're gonna do the FAFSA and invite a parent into it. Unfortunately, one of the things the student has to do to invite you in is they have to list your name, your birthday, your social security number, and your email address. So you have to feel comfortable with giving them that information to invite you into it. Okay? It opens October 1. It's supposed to open October 1. Last 2 years it's opened in December, but hopefully this year it will be October 1. You are doing the 26-27 FAFSA, that's the school year you're going into. Okay, you have to give permission for them to pull your tax information into the FAFSA, and you will be using prior year data, so it's the stuff you're getting ready to file now if you haven't already. You'll be using your 2024 taxes on the 26-27 FAFSA. The SAI is called the Student Aid Index. It's just that number, or that acronym, you'll hear quite a bit. Like sometimes when students do scholarships, it'll say you need to report your SAI. They want to know, that's basically replaces what used to be called the EFC. This booklet has all of, has a glossary in it for all of these different terminologies and everything. So it's a good resource for you. But basically it's saying that student aid index comes up and it says this is what the federal government says your family can afford for your education. Okay. That's a great website. School counseling under the seniors. Remember she listed college, financial aid, and scholarships. That will take you to all of the things that, resources that we have out there, all the workshops that we do as well.
So scholarships, that's right now, seniors and parents are reaching out, and where do I get the scholarship information? So there are different types of scholarships. You have your need-based, they're based off of income versus merit-based, your high grades, your GPA, some may be a combination of the two. There are different levels of scholarships, and so you have your national scholarships. We have several of the largest search engines there that you can reference, but no, they're national. They're thousands of students, hopefully, applying for these scholarships. A trend that we've noticed in recent years is we can't give money away, and so it's hard sometimes to kind of get students engaged in applying for the money that's out there that people really want to give you to go to college. But the national scholarships is going to be a much larger pool, but then you also have your college, your university scholarships, and once you know where you're headed, you know, the Virginia Tech, JMU have a scholarship portal, Radford, you do the application, then that also, I think, works as your scholarship application. But you can look and see what their specific scholarships are and what you qualify for. And then we have our local scholarships. So that's local to our area, Pulaski, the New River Valley, and so certainly your pool becomes much smaller. And again, to go back to if it's a scholarship that requires an essay, that's probably a scholarship you should be applying for and doing the essay, because that essay piece deters a lot of students. And so your odds have increased exponentially if you choose to do that scholarship, because it's hard to get students sometimes to go the extra mile to do those extra steps. So you see some of the local scholarships there.
The next type we have, it's called PCHS scholarships, and our seniors are getting ready to get, it's one application, and we have scholarships that are just awarded to Pulaski County High School students. So you guys may have heard of like the Lee Cook Scholarship, Cameron Fitzwater. These are memorial scholarships set up in honor of students that, former students. We have a scholarship set up by a gentleman in honor of his wife that graduated from here years and years ago. But those are only available to our students. It's one application. The students fill out the application and then select which ones they're qualified for, and we have a committee that will select the recipients, and then at the senior night at Calvin Park, that's when we tell those students that they've won those scholarships. So those are pretty good to look at. We do have one scholarship, we have scholarships anywhere from $200 to, we have one scholarship that's $20,000 over the course of 4 years. So great scholarships to apply for, but it is just for our students. So you're looking at a very small pool when it comes to that. And then go back to where do we find out about scholarships. We're gonna send them out through Remind. We're gonna have them on your announcements. And then the school website, we can't say enough and stress enough to you how much you should, how many times you should go to that website, check things out, look at it. We try to keep the scholarships updated about when they're due, so pay attention to that. The other thing I'll tell you to do is go look at other local high schools' websites. They're gonna know about scholarships we may not know about, as long as it's not specific to that high school. Guess what you can do? You can apply for that scholarship. So, we put all the scholarships that we're aware of on our website, but there are so many scholarships out there that couldn't possibly list them all. So go to other schools and just see what they have on their websites and look at, see if you can apply for those. And then you can do your own searches. Don't pay money for somebody to get you money though. Those are scams, and do not pay any money for somebody to say we can guarantee you this much scholarship money. So.
Can scholarships be used to pay for books and some of those?
There may be some that are specific, you know, they want to be as specific, but most of the time, our local scholarships, we pay to the university, to the college. The college puts it on their, on your account, the student's account, and once their things are covered, some colleges may leave it there as like a running balance. Other colleges may pay that money out to the student. So, but yeah, they can be anything that needs to go towards.
Just saying from the ACE program, they use a scholarship.
Yes, that's exactly what you can do. Once the ACE covers the tuition, then you can use that money on the account. Now, New River does not reimburse students for any remaining dollars, though. That money, they actually, what they do is they send it back to us, and put it back in our accounts and re-award it if there's any there, but.
So I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on this, just know this information is here. The NCAA clearinghouse is for our student athletes who are hoping, planning to go compete, or, you know, to attend a college and then participate in their sport. And so depending on what division they are, there are certain requirements listed there. Core GPA is very important and is different from your GPA. So your GPA is all high school credit courses that you've ever taken and received credit for. They're calculated into your GPA. Your core GPA is pulled from specific courses, and I have a list of those here. I won't go through them, but they're there. So advanced diploma students kind of meet those requirements, hit all the core course requirements very easily. Standard diploma students, we need to kind of take a look at and make sure you're meeting those requirements. So, I mean, if you're interested in playing ball, running, whatever, at the college, talk to your coach. You know, they're certainly going to connect you with certain places, but then the other piece is you need to sign up with the NCAA Eligibility Center. So if you know you're planning to go to Division III, you can do the profile page account, that's free. But if you're looking at a Division I or II school, you would need to do your registration account. There is a $100 fee associated with that. There are fee waivers available if you should need it. This NCAA guide for the college-bound student athlete, you can click on that link. It takes you to a big, long pamphlet, but a lot of great information. So I encourage you to go through that and read it. And certainly have a backup plan just in case. You know, some students are, the sport is the priority and the college is kind of the secondary piece of that, but you need to be prepared that perhaps you're not going to go and be able to participate in the sport that you want to. So be thinking about what does life look like for you after high school, and then what path do you need to take with college to make sure you achieve that. You'll see the academic eligibility requirements here with the core courses, and it's broken down. You must have 10 core courses prior to your senior year. So if you're concerned about that, you know, we can sit down with you and take a look at it, and then you'll see the core courses listed here that we offer at the high school.
All right, so that was a lot. You know, we covered admissions and financial aid and eligibility for clearinghouse, so sorry it was a lot. We hope we gave you something to kind of start with, check the resources we've given you, and let us know how we can help. So, if
This
you have any
website-
questions,
This presentation is now out on the council website on the junior page, just like you have a senior page with the 3 things, the junior page, this is out there, so all those links, you can get into those if you go through that. And we will also do an information session in September or October, specifically just about the NRCC ACE program, where they will come over and talk to families, and that will be in the evening, and then we'll do a daytime session for seniors as well. So if you are interested in that program, that will go out through Remind and different announcements. So that will be specific in September.
if you have any questions, you're welcome to stay behind. We'll stay around and answer those. If not, thank you guys for coming. Have a great night.
I knew that you did.